Hello, 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 and welcome to the Good Vibes Lifestyle live stream happening every Thursday at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. I'm so glad you're watching, and I am now streaming to Instagram. So if you like Instagram, you can go to my handle is at Raise Your Vibe and Thrive, and is spelled out. So Raise Your Vibe and Thrive, and that is the Good Vibes Instagram account where you can catch these live if you prefer. And if you are on Facebook or YouTube, maybe even Instagram, I think, not Instagram, but LinkedIn, you and Twitter, you can actually comment, and I should be able to see your comments and put them on the screen. So check it out, check it out. And you can always go to good-vibes.tv and watch our Good Vibes TV show, or get these podcasts, the old ones, or check out the live ones as well. So it's all about the good vibes lifestyle. Hashtag good vibes lifestyle. So, what does that mean? It means living in the zone of emotions of good vibrations, which are peace, love, happiness, joy, contentment. Basically, if you go to Dr. David R. Hawkins or Abraham Hicks, they both have emotional guidance scales that talk about the lower vibrations of, say, anger or hate or fear. Basically, it's fear on the bottom and love on the top. So when you want to be in the higher vibes, and when you do that using the law of attraction, you're attracting the life that you want, the reality of what your frequency is, of where you're vibing, right? So we know how where we're vibing by our emotions. So that's why this emotional guidance scale is so important. So basically, you want to feel good as opposed to feeling bad. And that's living the good vibes lifestyle. And by doing this, we're putting out that positive energy, and that positive energy uplifts everyone. So so where we want to work on is in ourselves, in our attitudes, in our energy, and know that as we're doing that, we're helping everyone. So that's my little thing about the Good Vibes Lifestyle Movement. And I actually am creating an event October 30th that's talking about it's a National Good Vibes Day. But as I get more information on that, I will let you know. So it's all about the Good Vibes Lifestyle Movement. All right, my friends. So let's talk about the astrology and what's happening in the skies, in the cosmos. We are in the waning phase of the moon, but the last few days of that, right? Because we've got a new moon happening tomorrow. It's going to be around 6 o'clock in the evening when it's exactly the new moon. So from now all the way up until that point, we're in what they call the dark of the moon. So this is the time to kind of really clear the clutter, uh, finish up any last minute tasks from the previous cycle of the moon, and kind of start preparing for the new cycle. And what's great to do during the new moon is to set intentions. Do you have new moon intentions? Do you set those intentions on the new moon? So the new moon is all about planting seeds and starting new things. And basically, the seeds grow and grow and grow until you get to the full moon. And then the full moon is the time of culmination. And then from that point to the waning to the next new moon, you are harvesting, reaping basically what you've sown, harvesting, processing, integrating what you've grown through that cycle. So that's pretty much how the cycle of the moon works. And we are part of this beautiful planet and part of nature. And the moon is one of the celestial bodies that is the closest to us. Now, it's a super new moon because it's a little closer to the Earth physically than it is normally. And we're going to actually have a super new moon this month, March and April. I looked it up. I thought that maybe there was every super new moon you'd also have a super full moon, and that's not true because the next super full moon, I believe, is September of this year. So just know that this is one of three super new moons coming in the next 3 months. So this is kind of perfect because it's a time of new beginnings. The spring equinox, well, we talked about last week being in bulk, and February 1st is kind of the midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox, which is kind of the official beginning of spring. But really, it starts spring because this is when we're starting to at least dream the garden if we can't actually plant it, but plan it out. And because the moon moves into a different astrological sign every 2.5 days. So this new moon is in the sign of Aquarius. And Aquarius is very special. Of course, we're in the sun sign of Aquarius right now. Um, and the sun, Aquarius has to do, it's an air sign, right? So traits of the air, specifically the intellect, creativity, ideas, innovation, um, humanitarianism also. Equality is another trait. Groups, grassroots movements, electricity and the internet. Also rebelliousness and rebellion. And even quantum leaps. Like I said, electricity and the internet. So it's that Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius. So um, the qualities of Aquarius is very sudden, very quick. That's why the quantum leap idea. And it's also a time of shifting from me to we. So that's very important to remember as far as not just this new moon, super new moon in Aquarius, but also we're coming into the age of Aquarius for the next over 2,000 years. We're moving into the age of Aquarius, coming from the age of Pisces. So it's becoming a very interesting time and a time of shifting our worldview. So, on that note, let's switch over to changing our worldview um, and remembering that we're actually part of a cosmic family. Think beyond just the globe and really look at the stars and the cosmos and realize that we are not the only ones here. We've always we're you know I guess kind of realize that. But we're getting closer and closer. And actually, there's been communication between the ETs and humans over the millennia, really. And there's also the idea that our DNA actually has ET DNA in it. So we are part of our star family. We're part of that cosmic family. So um, that gap is starting to get smaller and smaller with all this UFO and UAP disclosure. So, with this idea of changing our worldview so that we are really more accepting this idea that ETs are real and we are going to be communicating with them more and more. And, how do we do that in such a way that it's not, a psychic shock to humanity? Um, by really realizing it's not just, the movies talking about this. This is a real thing. Now, I have not ever really had a ET encounter, although I did see fast moving light that during a specific meditation to connect with ETs that other people saw too. But that's like really the closest I've ever come to it. Never really had any encounters, but I haven't really reached out to do that either. So there's a CE5 protocol that Dr. Stephen Greer has if you're really interested in getting involved with communicating with the ET and kind of being the ambassadors of making that happen. But what I wanted to let you know about is that there's this new foundation that was created last year in August called the soulfoundation.org is the website. And I have a little clip to play um, from that website. It's about 6.5 minutes long, and it's very similar to the New Paradigm Institute.org, but I wanted to share with you about it. So let me add this to the stage and get this playing.
The Soul Foundation is an institute of research that funds and guides research in sciences, the social sciences, the humanities, and that also produces policy and advisory research that is aimed to illumine and help us clear up what's going on with the UAP issue and also prepare us to deal with the social implications of it.
I come from a tradition in science of taking from multiple different fields of science and thought simultaneously and synthesizing them into something new. You create and you invent. I'm a tinkerer by nature, and so here we are tinkering with the reality of what this might actually mean.
We also are putting together what we call a whole of society approach that engages all institutions and kinds of people so that we can deal with what may promise to be a very world-changing issue in a way that involves everyone.
Here you now have everybody realizing that it's possible to talk about this and that they're not going to be booed out of the room. Welcome to California. Welcome to Stanford. The objective here is to legitimize and professionalize and then to seek from you your ideas.
We know from our private life that finding a partner provides a meaning to our existence. The same holds for finding a partner in outer space. Suddenly, the universe will not appear to be lonely.
A lot of individuals who previously thought that they were alone in their thought or their belief system, suddenly finding that they had many other individuals with whom they could speak. And so now the networks are forming, and we hope that this will catalyze an opportunity for others to basically step forward instead of us or along with us.
Not sure I'm aware of any sort of think tank organizations in recent years at the level of Soul. I mean, in terms of the people that they have attracted to the organization, not just the founders, but people associated with it, the people here at this conference. I've been going to conferences for 22 years, and I've never been to one at the level of this one. So I think it's really unique.
Everyone here in the audience has kind of praised it as the best event they've seen on this. And they've told us that everyone who needs to be here is here speaking, and that the audience is composed of just as many important people.
This is why we have the Soul Foundation. We need to basically create a parallel track of research and independent discoveries that aren't necessarily dependent on the U.S. government to provide us all the answers.
Before the space program, people felt that we couldn't even go into space, that human beings were tied to the Earth. Now we have over 500 people have actually flown in orbit, okay? And so it's not something that's unthinkable anymore. It's something people do. Okay? So the stigma has been removed.
Imagine if you could actually use some kind of technique to search for unidentified objects that are non-human. A goal is to search for a specific identifiable signature from an ET probe or non-human object.
It's an absolute perfect moment for Soul to get involved because we need policymakers to be advised on this, right? I mean, they want to do the right thing. There are many members of Congress who want more transparency, but the more information they can get from the brilliant people associated with Soul, the better it is. So I think the moment is perfect.
The fact that they're acknowledging it, whereas before, there's been rumors that NASA didn't want to do anything and other people didn't. But I think there's kind of like a crescendo or something's coming where now we can all get behind it. And I think if we can get this into more mainstream academia, I think it will help with a lot.
The more academics that are writing papers, the broader the base of interest is going to become. And I think that's another really important aspect of what Soul is doing.
What one learns when one gets in this field is that you end up with more collaborators, more supporters, and more offers of help than you would get if you were working on something conventional.
What they're really just trying to do is foster a coalition of the willing to properly identify what's going on. I think there's been other groups that have done this, but not at the scale of which Soul is trying to do this.
The Soul Foundation is something that we've all been dreaming for a long time, and I think it's the appropriate way to call attention to the problem and to gather the energy that we're going to need to go forward.
Anybody who will bring something forward in a manner that is logical and non-hyperbolic, we want to hear from them.
The influence that Soul can have in terms of bringing in the academic community and drawing these people in and creating papers that academics can read, it's going to expand the base of people that become aware of this situation, of the UAP issue, and it might draw in other intelligent people that haven't been exposed to it so far.
When this conversation develops and when the issue develops, we're always there to provide answers, because we were asking the questions that people are today 5-10 years before.
We're on the precipice of feeling that we are both smaller and larger than what we thought we were before. Smaller in that there's a greater sense of intelligences that might be out there, and so therefore we're one of many. But so that can make you feel small, but then bigger by knowing that you're as part of a community.
So that's the Soul Foundation, and let me get you here. Here you can see the website. So basically, Soul is more on an academic arena, trying to get people in universities to study this. And so this is very, very interesting. Now, last week I talked to you about the, let's see, will it switch? Share this tab. The New Paradigm Institute, and what's, if you get on their mailing list, you'll get this information as it happens, but it's newparadigminstitute.org. And so they're coming more from the policy making and constitutional legal area. So if you go to this website, you can actually take action now and support the whistleblowers and pressure Congress to hold the hearings and keep the momentum of this UFO and UAP research and hearings, get those going. And what's really cool is that they just announced that they're going to have an academic certificate. Let me go on to here. The academic certificate that you can get. And what they're doing, they're going to have a series of classes. This is on the history, law, politics, and technology of unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs, which is the new acronym. Instead of using UFOs, they're changed it to UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomenon. So Daniel Sheehan is the lawyer behind this. And what they're doing, which is really cool, so you can get the certificate, and it's like 4 weeks, I think, in a month, and it's like $199. And there's a series of 4. And Danny Sheehan talks about the history and law and politics of this in the government for the 4 weeks, and then you get a certificate, and that certificate you can actually transfer to the Ubiquity University, and it can go towards your master's or PhD degree in extraterrestrial studies. So isn't that cool? You're going to be able to get a degree, a master's or a PhD in extraterrestrial studies through the Ubiquity University. So I thought that was pretty fascinating, and wanting to share that with you because it's all about UFO and UAP disclosure right now, I think. Part of the age of Aquarius, we're going to see more and more encounters with ETs. Again, it's about changing our worldview to not just a global, but more of a universal. So anyway, just wanted to share those things with you. And hopefully, if you're interested, it's resources that you didn't have before that now you know about. So check those 2 websites out. You get on their mailing list and follow the trail of breadcrumbs down the UFO UAP rabbit hole. All right, so it's time for our Oracle of the Month. And the oracle that we're working with them for the month of February is the Divine Masters Oracle by Carl Gray. And I did want to just briefly read a little bit from the introduction so you have an idea of what his intention was in creating this deck. So Like Kyle Gray says, the divine masters, also known as ascended masters, are a congregation of enlightened beings, spiritual guides, and souls who have dedicated themselves to the healing and nurturing of the world. These beings are universal spiritual guides operating in a multidimensional level, meaning that, like angels, they aren't limited by linear time and space. They live in that quantum field. Therefore, anyone can connect and work with them no matter what their background or experience. So, of course, this deck is a way to communicate with them. And let's ask for an oracle message, a message from this oracle, and ask what does spirit, what does the universe want us to know right now? What message does spirit have for us right now? For anyone who's watching right now and anyone who may be watching in the future. So we have Hathor. And I think we've had her before. Light activation, acceleration, brilliance, and stand in your light. She's an Egyptian goddess. I don't know if I work with the cards in between shows here. And so I've gotten her before. If I can just find her little card. Let's see. Hathor. Okay. So I'm going to put her up so you can see her as I read the message. Hathor, also known as Heru, is the cow goddess of ancient Egypt and the solar goddess who is strongly connected to the sky and fertility. Hathor worship dates back to the 3rd millennium BCE. Hathor is easily recognized for she wears a sun disk on her head. There it is. Held and placed by 2 horns, which is relating to the cow and to wisdom. She's also widely represented as a human-like figure with a pair of cow's ears, which is what the image in this deck is based on. Het Heru means from the house of Horus, and it has become accepted that Hathor is the divine consort of the hawk-headed deity Horus. This connection gives her cosmic energy and a link to the stars, star beings, and star potential. It is also believed that she is likely the daughter of the sun god Re, and therefore carries the infinite light of the sun. In modern spirituality, Hathor is the face of a divine race known as the Hathors, enlightened beings from the stars who are helping people on Earth reach their highest potential. And the message is light, joy, and success surround you now. If you have been going through a dark, challenging time, the clouds are now parting and the light of the sun is shining upon you. This is a time of acceleration and success. You are beginning to build momentum and things are starting to move forward. Old dreams and visions may come to light now, for whatever has been blocking you or holding you back is now being released, making space for an influx of energy, drive, and movement. Hathor is encouraging you to set your sights higher than before, reach for the sun, bask in your own brilliance. If you have held back on expressing any of your talents or bringing the light information that will support your growth, now is the time to bring these things into the light of day. If you've been holding back on a project or waiting on the right time to move forward, that time is now. The wheels are turning and your life is moving. Enjoy the light. So that's the message for Hathor light activation. And, we're in this new moon cycle. And even though it means absence of the light, right, the sun, it's the sun and the moon are conjunct together so that so we don't see the moon, right? Not until it starts moving and starts reflecting that sun, but they're right next to each other. So we're seeing the back end of the moon, basically, the shadow side. So, but that's going to change and we're going to start. And the other big thing is that it's the lunar, the new year for the Chinese New Year when we have this new moon in February. It's also the Chinese New Year and it's the year of the dragon, the wood dragon. So it has to do with growing. So I hope you liked that. And if you like this deck and you want to buy one, I have it on my Amazon store. You just have to go to good-vibes.tv to check it out. And, you know, so it supports me, supports the channel. So thank you for doing that. I have everything else that I've promoted on the show that is on Amazon, you can get at my store. All right, so let me get rid of this graphic here. And let's talk. I'm going from the heavens to the earth. We're going to talk about joyful gardening. I talked about it last week, and I'll talk about it a little bit every week because the Grow Your Own Vegetables Network is having a special docu-series that's starting on February 20th and going till the 27th. It's a complimentary docu-series, an 8-day event. And I have a website here that you can go to. This one's a little different than last week's. It's a tinyurl.com/capital GVTV, then garden steps, all in lowercase. And when you go to that, you'll actually get a special guide that talks about your first steps in planting your garden. Now, this garden series is for all levels of gardeners, from the novice to the experienced, whether you want to grow vegetables or herbs, or no matter what kind of space you have, whether you have a garden. Um, the founder, Stacy Murphy, the mission of this online education initiative is to help millions of people take part in one of the nourishing activities on the planet, which is having a thriving garden. So she's been doing this for several years, and I only partnered up with her last year. And I haven't been through all her work yet, but I did go to this if you go to this website, you get to download this really cool PDF, and she actually has a whole video about it where you can learn about what kind of gardener you are based on what your values are. So check it out because I really just think it's a great thing. All right. Sorry for the noise in the background. All right, so last week's tip was to dream your garden. So did anyone start doing that? Have you thought about what plants you might want to grow? And the reason working in the garden is so important is because we get our hands in the dirt. We connect with Mother Earth. And as I've mentioned before, one of the tips is to ground yourself, meaning walk on the earth barefoot, because you absorb the negative ions from the earth, which offsets all the positive ions that we're getting from our computers and devices and things like that. So it's really important to have that balance. By having a garden, you get to, gives you another reason to get out there and ground yourself, which balances you out. So, but to have a garden, you get how to take those first steps, and dreaming it is really important because when you're dreaming something, you're using your third eye, you're using your intellect. We're in this Aquarian energy of this new moon, so it's a perfect time to really dream your garden, write it down, and start doing the planning work. Use your intellect to do that planning. Now, this week's tip to raise your vibration is to set and write down your intentions. We talked about earlier how it's a new moon, new supermoon even, which means it just has a more amplified impact or effect. So it's like a super time to set and write down your intentions. So you don't want to just set your intentions. You want to write them down, because by writing them down, you're taking them from the air element to the earth element and physically manifesting them. And that helps to actually manifest them in the world, right? So it's important to really not just think them, but write them down. So set and write down your intentions for the next 30 days. And what I like to do, I've got a vision board that I have as a screen on my background. I have one for good vibes, and I have one generally for my whole life, like 8 different categories. And this was based on Colette Baron Reed's Vision Board Challenge. Anyway, I haven't shared it with you because it's kind of personal, but if you do ask, I may share it. So you have to ask. Anyway, so I like to use this vision board and always have that daily as my list, but then from that kind of extract what are the specific intentions that I'm working on right now, for this next month cycle. So I think it's just really good thing to do, and it helps to raise your vibration, because when you're in a place where you know what you're doing, you have a plan, you have a vision, it helps drive you forward. All right, so let's talk about Good Vibes TV. My next episode is with Annette Dernick. She's from Germany. She's a speaker, a coach, and an author, and she talks about peace and love in companies, the values of peace and love, and how that's making such a difference. So that show will be premiering this Sunday at noon on the Good Vibes channel. And so, again, just go to good-vibes.tv, or if you want to go directly to the YouTube channel, it's at Raise Your Vibe and Thrive with the and spelled out. And, you can go there and watch the show as soon as it's available. All the previous shows are there. So we got more than 3 seasons worth. And I'm so excited to report that the Ron Moorhead Part 1 video on Bigfoot is almost 1,300 views, which is a milestone for this channel, because the most views I ever got were maybe on shorts, say 300. And on the actual shows, maybe just over 100. So this is a big jump. And so anyway, I guess there's a lot of interest in Bigfoot. So I know there's interest in Bigfoot, there's interest in UFOs, and hopefully there's interest in just raising your frequency so you can have a better life. Well, my friends, if you liked anything that I shared with you today, if you found value, please like, share, and subscribe, whether you do it on the Facebook or whether you do it on the YouTube. YouTube will always have these podcasts, the live streams. I'm creating them as podcasts, will always have them available. So please like, share, and subscribe, and I appreciate that. And again, I will share my screen here with the other social media places where you can check me out. So thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you next week. Peace out, everyone.